You need to take out your notebooks now. I will define and describe the perfect church. And we have 9 more months to get it right, okay? You can appreciate how absurd that is, the perfect church. The perfect church would depend on the perfect people. The perfect church would depend on the perfect minister. The perfect church would depend on the perfect gospel, the perfect message, the perfect truth. Where Aristotle said of the perfect, it has 3 qualities. The perfect is that which is complete, which contains all the required parts. That's perfect. That which is perfect is good, that nothing is so good that nothing of the kind could be better. The perfect is so good that nothing could be better. And that which is perfect has attained its purpose. So the perfect has achieved what it means to be. So you can see how ridiculous the word perfect is. I'm sure Peggy went out looking for a perfect husband. I'm sure you went out looking for a perfect mate. So I'm here this morning to testify to how burdensome the obligations of someone else's agenda can be on the life of a community. This congregation in Tampa has struggled over nearly 60 years to come to where we are today. Now it's interesting. In the last 26 years, you've had 9 different people occupy this pulpit. Well, that has to tell us something. That has to tell us that y'all make bad choices. See, it's not that simple, okay? It's always complicated. But in this transitional 2 years, we've been about me being myself, knowing that the first day I was here, I was fired. In 2 years, I'm on my way. A year from this morning, you will be getting used to a different voice and a different attitude and a different presence in this place. And it's okay. As Ram said this morning, it is the nature of life. It's the process of creativity. And I see for this congregation, not perfection, but a creating church that moves through the dynamics and the challenges that come with so much possibility. Peggy and I go out to little congregations and speak on my off Sundays. And usually I spend the Sunday afternoon getting over the melancholy and the morale downer that it is. We have a tremendous quality here in this space. You are a special people. And I'm not saying this to butter you up because I got my paycheck. I'm saying this for you to be aware of, do not sell yourself short. But I also want to challenge your graciousness a bit. I want you to understand that anyone who stands in this place, if they've got any kind of consciousness, if they've got any kind of soul, if they've got any kind of awareness, they are scared to death. Because we may say we're okay and we respect the minister, but we all in this place, Doak included, I'll be at the front of the class, have authority problems. How dare you stand up there and say anything to me? I'm impressed you people stick around. What's the matter with you? Because the people who try to do this, they can do other things. We have talents, we have abilities, but somewhere in our heart we find the need to be about discovering possibilities for our lives in a place where no one else does. Think about this. Outside of your apartment, outside of your home, outside of your partner, your mate, your best friend, where's your next community? Who are the people you want to be around? Who would you choose to spend quality time with? Is it people at work? Is it your family? Somewhere else? I got a hunch that it's us. So all of us have a weird kind of serious responsibility here. I've got to get in this place and know that I'm trying to say something that matters. And you need to know that you come to this place with expectations other people have of you. Not requirements, but to be kind, hospitable, and when you're talking your ideas, be at least a little generous. You know, I'm the blowhard. You're not, okay? I'm the one who's right. You just got to go this way, okay? The perfect church is unimaginable, as is the perfect mate is unimaginable, or the perfect job. But the creating church, the creating spouse, the creating job is another thing. Because in creations, we take the components we have, we look at the needs around us, and we respond and adapt to the situation. In the 21st century, there needs to be a voice on the religious horizon that says force and violence is not the way. Thank God for Pope Frank. He's wading in with his white dress and saying, stop this, it's insanity. Well, we have to be with people like that stand on the side of love, not because God told us so, but because our grandchildren demands it of us. We have the capacity to be co-creators with a life that can go bad very quickly. We created the atomic bomb 1 generation ago, 2 generations ago maybe now. We have the capacity to nuke the world. We have the capacity to take a person who's dying's heart and put it in my chest and me be talking to you over nearly 5 years later. We are a creative and dynamic people. When we have the will to accomplish something, we will get it done. Unitarian Universalists are on this world, on this globe. We are about being that voice that says, let's do better. Let's be more loving. Let's be more creative. Let's be more compassionate. And let's understand that all of us are just striving to find a place of safety and security, to be accepted and to be blessed. It's not some theology in a book. It's not some great truth that some priest, rabbi, guru has to share with you. Look in your own hearts and see what dwells there. Oh, there's some junk, and there's some pain, and there's some scarring. But when you melt it down, you know that kindness and acceptance serves your life. Well, just multiply that. Immanuel Kant said 400 or 500 years ago, do only those things you would want done universal. The moral imperative. To be about a golden rule that says, you are important in my life. We signify. Now let's work this out together. Let's see how we can dwell in peace and in prosperity and in hope rather than in competition and in dread and in destruction. Well, this is not a political place. We in this room look at things different ways. We have different ways of thinking that will bring about a resolution and a solution to our problems. That's fair. But we also believe that we cooperate one with another to make it happen once we come up with a decision. But when we talk about things that are important, when we talk about what it means to survive a loved one's death, to know that voice is not there anymore. I've been dwelling on my mother lately. Mother died in the spring. And knowing that that presence is not there on that hill touches me. And it touches me places that keeps my humanity safe to me. It's a warm and moist place in my thoughts and my soul. And I recognize that as a gift of life, a gift of appreciation, a gift of love. So we may not make a perfect church, but let's be about a creative community where we can talk about that kind of stuff, where we can say how lost we are, how we didn't do it right, how we made that mistakes. There are a lot of folks in this room that are in recovery of some sort, from being abused to being an abuser. Recovery from substance. Some of us recovery from arrogance. Recovery is an opportunity to renew and reboot and restart life and to take the learnings we've experienced, and apply them. It's amazing how it can change. It may not happen. I'm a much better daddy than my daddy was. My daddy was a much better daddy than his daddy was. And my grandkids are going to be much better mothers and daddies than their parents. There is a part and parcel in our existence which is pretty remarkable, fellas. We make a contribution. We make a contribution based on a theory, an idea, a hope, a statement, an affirmation, and it impacts things. It informs things. Unitarian Universalism is an opportunity to see if freedom can work. To see if a discerning group of people in small groups can come together, create ritual, Be about celebration. Look at things to be referential about. Not maybe some abstract God, but the reality of the power and the energy within our midst. That's holy and sacred, that runs through all creation. It brings about the seasons. It brings about aging. It brings about renewal. It brings about death. And it brings about life. My goodness, what in the world more do we need? Someone said that you can test a culture by its entertainment and its prisons. Work that one a little bit. What entertains us? You've heard me say this a couple times. What entertains us right now is a lot of rescue by superheroes. And a lot of Walking Dead. And vampires and zombies. And stuff. I don't see any heroines. I don't see any recognition of those noble heroes that all throughout time have given a model to how we can be. But I see them every day. You see them when you go to the doctor sometime, in a nursing staff that cares. You see them someone in a grocery line that's courteous rather than rude. You see those heroes that hold life together with some type of quality and possibility every day of your life. And you see the villains too. You see those who think it's cute to chop someone's head off on TV. That's abhorrent. That's wrong. That's evil. And us going in and bombing the people around them, that's not good. It may not verge on evil, but it's not good. So here we are as a creative, responsive people, going about doing old ways to solve old problems that have never worked. The last good war was World War II, and we were lied about a lot of that. Now think about that. I'll test you with my history on this one, folks. It was a good war because we had insanity going on. We, in our time, have not learned to apply the learnings of the past well enough. And we in this room care about that. That's our burden. My buddy Bob Thomas, the Cherokee teacher, he said, part of the Cherokees' struggle and a part of the native people's struggle in the white world or the European world is to know that they've been complicit in the degradation, in the destruction and the sickening of the globe. And this is what he meant. He went on to say, our job was to keep the rituals. Our job was to maintain the balance. And you came with your stuff, with your pots and your fire water, and we got seduced. And we lost who we were. So our job now, as always, is to renew the rituals, to keep the dances, to say the words, tell the story. The Jewish people understand themselves as the chosen, to keep the laws of Yahweh alive, the ethics that were applied to make Judaism what it was and what Christianity took from it. The notion that human beings are related to a power in the universe that moves through systems of justice. That cooperation and compassion is the earmark of that community. That everyone needs to be involved. So Unitarian Universalists are called to be missionaries. They're called to be martyrs. They're called to be caring folk. A creative church. Not a house of God, not a community of sacraments, but a community of life, a community of hope, a community of memory, a community of honesty that looks at some of the things we've done as human beings, white, entitled, otherwise, I don't care, and say, boy, that was a poor choice. How would it been to be those Native Americans meeting folks at Hispaniola 500, 600 years ago? And then in 3 weeks, half our family was dead from some disease that we never knew anything about. And those white devils brought it. If we can continue to have an understanding of compassion and empathy, we have hope. And we may not be about perfection, because perfection is dead. Perfection has no growth. Perfection has no energy. Being perfect, I've seen perfect paintings. I've seen perfect buildings. But I've not seen anything perfect alive. Because perfection is not about process. Process is creating a new energy, finding a new rhythm, experiencing a new hope, blessing and being blessed. So Unitarian Universalism is an opportunity not to be about perfection, but to be about practice, practice, practice. To love a life that is fleeting. To sit back for moments and moments and remember the good. And when we're in that meditative time, and when we're discovering things about ourselves, maybe reach out to do things a little differently that we would like to see done for ourselves, for our own self-understanding, for our own appreciation. There are a lot of people in a lot of places this morning talking about what God wants from you and what you need to do to be saved and how good it is to be this or that and how lucky we are to be whatever we might be. We're challenged here. We're a struggling people. We're pilgrims in a land that is hurting and broken. And we are called to be agents of healing and love. And it takes patience, and it takes generosity, and it takes courage. But it takes all of us. It takes each one of us holding on to one another, lifting ourselves up sometimes, and toting our load down the road to be about a good life, a full life, a meaningful life. Having all the toys when you die means squat. You know the worst thing about death is getting rid of the junk? My poor sister's up there across from here to the, not too much farther than the multi-purpose building that hadn't been in Mama's house a couple of times because she's got to deal with the junk. And my heart goes out to Sister about that because she'll relive all of that. And while it'll be a painful process to her, I think she'll also enjoy it some, I hope. So here we are, September 28th, 2014, pretending to be a church. We're not pretending to be a church. We are a church. We love good. We hope clearly. And we have the ability, and I think the honesty in this room, to be about creative change that needs to take place when we see it necessary. We're having good crowds. We're having good energy. It's not about me. It's about the atmosphere we all create here. So if you feel unwelcomed here, grab somebody. Hug them up and say, I'm here. If you're lonesome, invite somebody to lunch sometimes. If you're in need, express those needs. The Unitarian Universalist Church of Tampa is here for us. We make it, we can guide it, and we can sustain it. Blessed be. The creating church, serving hope through love for people and planet. May it be so. If you came this morning to be blessed, you are blessed. If you came this morning to be forgiven, you are forgiven. If you came this morning to be renewed, I hope you have found that. If you came this morning to reach out and be with others, your brothers and sisters are standing beside you. Go in love and hope. See you next time. Be good to yourselves and gentle to the world.